Yeah.
Where are the handouts that, Sarah printed? You know? Already up there? Okay, the applicants probably wanna see them too. Where they are. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
I found it.
Okay, never mind. Sorry, I thought we had some other things.
Okay, so your son is 36. See, ours is, this is the acreage, but the percentage is 47.9, and you has 33 something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, his are, his are relatively flat.
Yeah.
And,
Something here at the end of the agenda.
and you said 30.
Sure. Brian's here. He's actually the chairman.
Oh, good. Right?
How's it going? Eric?
So, I mean, this is, just
So,
clarify
since
that.
I'm new and we're gonna have new members here after Dick, I was wondering if, when we get to the approved agenda, if we could add after all the action items, just kind of a discussion real quick on setting a date for a, kind of like a planning commission workshop.
Okay.
Thinking sometime in January, something like that. We'll do that, so since I'm new, we have new members, I just kinda wanna make sure we have all of our ducks in a row.
Sure.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, you came in for a big one today.
Uh-huh.
You came in for a big one today.
Guess so.
Well, if we have the So do you want me to get this going?
I mean, if you know how, yeah, I mean, oh, no, I can do
Figure it
that.
out.
I should start on the right.
Or just
He told me the one on the right. Forward, over here. I'll still.
fancy, but,
I already
what,
use it.
well, I found out what PBR is, so, I didn't want to ask. They kept talking about it, I was like, that's only PBR. I'm thinking it's not.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. Uh-oh, why did I do that? You shouldn't take risks. It's kind of- planning commission as well.
No, Dola does go.
Do we have some more?
They've just let me have it before.
How long have they had that around?
At least one. I mean, they've updated it, it's good. Oh.
What happened? To get in there?
Oh, good. They're gonna dig out some more chairs. Jeremy's not going to be here tonight, so
That's it for right now. Not ours.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely on the map, but it's not like, it's actually a thoroughfare. How's it going?
good, you.
I wouldn't mind if you guys sit and use either.
Oh, thank you. And you knew to bring your own.
I did. I stopped at the store. I said, I'm going to sit there. I'm so tired. My dog had knee surgery Thursday. And so every night I've been sleeping in the living room and taking her out because the medication makes her peel. Oh, man. It's no, oh, man, this place is going crazy tonight.
Yeah, you got 3 big ones tonight.
Let's just emotionally vote no for everything. Just get out of here.
Or yes for everything.
Or yes. What did I get?
I think what's happening, oh, it's a letter from some lady objecting to something. It's like, because we haven't had a staff for so long,
What's up?
what?
Why'd you put me here?
Tom won't be here? Tom won't be here?
Nah, he worked on all this also.
I know, but we needed him last time for
For a quorum. Well, we got 4.
I have a question. One of the commissioners is Charlene Thomas?
She's no longer a commissioner
Okay.
because she never showed up.
I was going to say, I'd never seen her.
No.
What am I looking at here?
I don't know.
Why do I have it?
Because for the one of the projects.
Huh? What are we okay today?
Well, I don't know. Didn't you look at the agenda?
Right?
They want to rezone.
One of his own, yeah.
You got 3 big ones tonight. Okay. You're going to see about midnight.
You're gonna hear a lot of pros and cons.
Well, I can't stay out there. I'm wishing. Some guy wants to put 69 townhomes or something.
Yep, Clover Meadows Phase 8.
And that's over here, just over there. 69 townhomes. What the fuck? They can't even sell these.
Oh, yeah?
They can't.
They can sell the end units, but they can't sell the interior.
Yeah.
Well, it'll take them a while to develop, because I'm in Clover Meadows 7. And I think there's one lot left, one empty lot left that doesn't have a building on it. So they'll go.
Yeah, right, because it could just grow like that.
And I suspect it'll take
Okay.
3 or 4 years before that really sort of starts rolling up big time. You got Mustang Crossing coming in.
They're in the standstill.
They've got a cease and desist from the state.
Are these low income also?
No,
These are normal.
normal. Yeah, they still got stormwater issues. Town thought it was okay. The state had a bug up their ass, so they're working through that. And from what I understand, they're just waiting for the state to finally go, okay, you're okay. They have one lot that's already started digging and putting in forms for a foundation, but they can't pour anything.
There we go. See, I got it all right here, man.
Revenue for the town. Oh yeah. All the stuff that's going to go on there, a lot of that'll be taxable. It's church funded, but that doesn't mean we'll get some revenue from it. Read the packet.
See, she's here. We got 5 people.
Ready? Thought we ought to go fast since we got a
Well, the
lot.
first one's an annexation.
First one's
Section?
rezone. First one's a rezone.
Oh, where the hell's that? Back row.
How's it going?
You need to come prepared.
Oh, I read all this stuff the other day.
Pick one. You all ready?
Yep.
You ready? I'll call this meeting to order at 6:31. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lyons,
Here.
Commissioner Tensa,
Yeah, here.
Trustee Nyberg,
Here.
Commissioner Gadd,
Here.
Commissioner O'Shea Hager.
Here.
Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I brought you a pen.
Thank you. I forgot.
We'll now open up to general public input, limited to 10 minutes, 3 minutes per speaker. This would be something that's not on tonight's public hearing agenda. If you'd like to speak to something else, please come up to the podium now. Okay. Planning commissioners disclose conflicts of interest. None.
None.
Seeing none. Next item is to approve tonight's agenda. We would like to add one item down in the item 3, discussion and adjourn, to discuss potential time for a planning commission workshop sometime in January.
Move to approve the agenda?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Lyons,
Yes.
Commissioner Tensa,
Yes.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Gadd,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Shea Hager.
Yes.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from November 13th, 2025.
Motion to approve the minutes from, when was it?
13.
We didn't.
13th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lyon,
Yes.
Commissioner Vincent,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Gadd,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Shea, Hedinger.
Yes.
Public hearing, item 2A, Pine Valley Church, rezone for Heritage Arena. Rezone from R1, single-family residential to A, agricultural for a proposed arena and special event center. The property is located at 601 Dove Ranch Road, Bayfield. Nancy?
Thank you, Chairman Gadd, and I'll just make sort of a general announcement because we have such a busy agenda tonight. I'm gonna try and keep my presentations fairly brief. Please feel free to ask questions in case I missed anything. The other thing I want you to notice, is that typically you do all your hearings, close the public hearings and then open it up for a motion. We're suggesting tonight, and we've done the agenda that way, so that you will have the action on the item right after the item, so that people don't have to wait through the rest of the agenda to hear, what the comment is on the, or what your motion is on the project. So, the chairman introduced the item. This tonight for Pine Valley Church, for their Heritage Arena is simply the rezoning stage. The applicants have submitted quite a bit of additional information on what they're proposing to do with the property, but what you need to consider tonight, and what the Planning Commission's considering tonight, is whether or not the property should be rezoned from R10, which is a single-family, quarter-acre lot type zone, which is the same as what Dove Ranch subdivision is zoned, to agricultural, which is a little bit of a different zone, and I'm gonna talk about what would be allowed in the agricultural zone. For the most part, the use is permitted in the agricultural zone to start with, as far as permitted and allowed outright, are fairly similar to R10. Single-family detached homes, duplexes, manufactured homes, some minor utility uses, accessory dwelling units, and then we add to that agricultural uses of service-oriented uses and agricultural production-oriented uses. From there, all the uses in the agricultural zone are considered use by review, which means they come back in front of this board and perhaps the town board, if the item is appealed on, for full consideration of the proposed use, mitigation of impacts, etc. So at this point, although the church has clearly indicated what they're proposing to use for it, you should consider whether or not the types of uses that are allowed or used by review in the agricultural zone are the appropriate uses for this neighborhood, rather than focusing onto the arena as proposed, as discussed by the church. This group is not considering the arena at this point. They're considering the rezone only. The Land Use Code has a number of criteria for the Planning Commission to consider when they consider a rezone request, and I'm gonna just briefly list those. They don't all need to be addressed, but they are all considered. The first one is whether or not a need exists for the proposed rezone. Next is the particular parcel, the correct site for the proposed development. Has there been an error in the original zoning? Has there been a significant change in the area to warrant a zone change? Does adequate circulation exist and traffic movement would not be impeded by any development of the property? Whether or not additional municipal service costs would be incurred, which the town is not prepared to meet. Are there minimal environmental impacts or impacts that can be mitigated? Is the proposal consistent with the town master plan, maps, goals, and policies? And is there adequate waste and sewage disposal, water, schools, parks, recreation, and other services to the proportional degree necessary due to the impacts by the proposed land use? So that is what you need to consider when reviewing this request. We did submit it to referral agencies, and I've provided those for you. Some of them are actually a little ahead of themselves and are addressing the actual proposals. We don't really want to consider those yet because that would be considered at the next stage of review should this project move forward. La Plata County did speak to any future review of this property. The county would require an analysis of traffic and access impacts to County Road 501. For the most part, there really weren't any additional comments. I did give you in your staff report what criteria would be used for future reviews. Remember, it's not what we're looking at now, but when a proposal comes forward, you would consider whether or not the project works in the neighborhood, whether impacts can be addressed, whether there's traffic, undue traffic, etc. So those are for the future when a project comes forward, because at this point, although the church has been very clear what they're proposing to do, that use, I suppose, could go away and you could be faced with something very different given the range of uses that the agricultural zone allows. You need to have a full public hearing on this tonight. Just for the record, we have a full quorum of the planning commission. 5 members are present, and I've given you some possible actions, including approve the rezone or recommend approval of the rezone. That town board would actually approve a rezone, recommend denial of the rezone, or recommend continuance of the rezone request with specific direction to staff on any additional information that is required. Are there any questions?
I have a quick question. Assuming that this would remain R10,
Yes?
what would be the possible full build-out in terms of homes in that?
Oh, you're gonna question me.
Yes, I'm gonna get your computer out.
Let's see here. So we have 60 acres. It's an average of about 4 units to the acre. So 340?
Okay.
I didn't need them, the calculator.
Okay.
Nancy, the agricultural service-oriented use that's permitted by right in the agriculture zone, what is a service-oriented use?
Hang on. Let me look, there's a description in here that, yeah, some of those uses were new to me. Bible. If I get to the right place. I think I would go with service-oriented, might be kennels. You wanna go with it?
So service.
That's a good example, it's not helping really. Yeah, so the code lists some examples of uses that are allowed in the agricultural zone. It's got animal processing, packing, treating, and storage, animal raising, including horses, hogs, cows, sheep, apiculture, which is beekeeping, aquaculture, dairying, floriculture. Look that up, greenhouses, nurseries, not engaged in retail trade, kennels with overnight facilities, pasturage, no, just pastures. Personal or commercial animal breeding, riding academy, auction ring, barns, farm stands. This actually isn't the same as the new agricultural district. Can we go on and we'll keep looking to get back to that.
Sure.
Right.
Times twice a day.
Have any other questions from the
1,700 trips a day.
commissioners?
Not until she's able to answer the questions,
what?
because
Stays
there's
R10,
some
yeah.
things in there I'd like to know if are zoned in there.
Well, I don't see it defined in here. Oh wait, here we go, I'm getting there. Service oriented. Kennels with overnight facilities, riding academy or boarding stable, special events, veterinary services, fishing, and water sports. It's not in this version, so that's why I was lost.
So what about RV?
RV, yes, they are listed,
Got nothing to do with that.
so not all the uses, it needs to be clear, not all the uses are traditionally agriculturally
What do you got?
related. RV parks and campgrounds are considered a use by review. Along with hotel motels, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals. There's quite a bit of uses that aren't considered traditionally agricultural that are used by reviews in that zone.
I guess where my concern comes in is it's fairly vague, and there's, when you talk about riding academies or something like that, and we're saying, what you're telling us is we're not approving the arena tonight, but we're also saying our riding academy is a service-oriented use. So technically, they could go put an arena up, and there's nothing in there to say there can't be 2,000 people to show up to watch us riding academy. We're kind of getting into the weeds here a little bit, but I guess I want to make sure we all know what we're talking about and what we're looking to potentially approve.
Well, I guess an arena, an event center, they're clearly used by reviews.
Well, I guess my concern is the RV that is put in there,
Okay, and those are used by review.
and I understand that.
Okay,
But that's part of agricultural in RV park.
that's where I was saying, yeah, and why I wanted to list all the uses. The agricultural zone here in Bayfield is not, it's not just agricultural or traditionally agricultural uses. There are a lot of other uses in there that are either allowed or used by reviews. So they could be requested, and they would come back in front of you. From the uses that they have discussed at the church, they are all used by review, in my view of your land use code.
What would be a use that would not have a review?
A single-family home, I think Matthew was correct in that it says service-oriented uses. So those ones I read out are permitted land uses, which are kennels with overnight facilities, riding academy or boarding stable, special events, veterinary services, fishing, and water sports.
So those uses do not have use by review?
They're listed as permitted
Oh.
land uses, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that they define special events.
If I may say something, under your land use, under our land use code on 4.4, under districts, it lists agricultural uses very clearly. The other things that Nancy's talking about are all by review. These are what's allowed under agricultural, 4.4.
Nancy, get your calculator out again for me, will you? If I've got R10 and I'm allowing whatever, we'll end up, possibly, if somebody wanted to come in and develop it, we would end up with 340 homes. You figure, give or take, the average,
240.
huh? 240? Oh, let me regroup. So 240, you figure on average it's 2.5 people per household, which is typically the average in the county, times 2 trips a day. What do we end up with on traffic? So 240
Tell me
times,
again, 240?
240 times basically 5. $1,200. So we have potentially 1,200 car trips a day going in and out of there if a developer came in, as it's currently zoned R10, and wanted to put up X number of houses.
But let's throw in, they wanted to put in Hope Christian Academy, which would up the traffic there. So you
Okay,
have to
we're
have
talking
that.
two different things.
Well, but it's all part of the same thing,
How so?
because with the church rezoning, they're also bringing in Hope Christian Academy, which they want to use the Dove Ranch intersection to come in and use that to go into the school.
That's a different, that's,
Clear that, yeah, that, the Christian Academy, the church and the proposed academy are on a different parcel. This parcel is the
still-
one that's zoned R10 and that you're considering tonight.
But still, the traffic impact, that's what I'm bringing up.
right, but if you're talking an arena or some kind of event center like that, riding academy, you're not talking daily traffic. You're talking surge traffic. When there's an event, boom. Normally, not so much. If you have that many residential traffic going in and out of that parcel, that's every day. Big difference.
Are there any other questions, or do you want to turn it to the applicant?
What, I'm not sure that this is a actual question, but what I'm wondering is we've already zoned this residential. There was a reason at the time that it was zoned residential. I'm assuming it was agriculture before that.
That agriculture zone is fairly new for the town, and honestly, I don't know the history of whether it was Dove Ranch was annexed in for those uses, or we'd have to find someone who's been here longer.
I thought that's what it said in the staff report, is that parcel was annexed in as part of Dove Ranch.
So there were decisions that were made that were based on the residential designation. And I don't know if your hypothetical has all of that residential traffic coming out of one.
Don't know.
There are, as Dove Ranch is right now, there's like 3 stub roads that go to the parcel that's being proposed tonight. Is that right? 3 of them?
Potentially, I guess.
Cactus and, anyway, there would be potential that the residential traffic would be going through 3 different, or even out onto 501. That's neither, it's just that the residential traffic would have, it would be split up between those different accesses.
But they all access off of Dove Ranch Road.
Yeah.
That's if they developed houses there.
I thought you were referring to the stub that goes into the school. Anyway, I'm wondering if there was anything during those meetings or when the decisions were made that said, okay, this should be residential, and for these reasons. I don't know that we could find that out.
Yes. Well, it does, we found in the staff report the history that Dove Ranch came in, was annexed into the town in 2009 as a residential development.
And we do, you know, all these housing projects that come through, when we look at our land use plan, we obviously need housing in Bayfield. That's always given us a reason for developments that come before us. There's a great need for housing. That doesn't take me one place or another, but that's something that I think we should at least consider.
Move on to public hearing. If you would like to speak on this item, please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
Shouldn't we have the applicant?
Or, yeah, if the applicant would like to speak.
Probably ought to start with me.
Yes, please.
Scott Kuya, pastor of Pine Valley Church, and thank you for taking this on. I know it's, anytime you take on a project or something like this, it creates a lot of interest on both sides. And I get it, and I don't envy your position, but you're in a position for a reason. And just as a little back history, all of Dove Ranch that was annexed, it was all farmland owned by the Dove family. And when Brad Elder purchased all the land, then he annexed all of that and got the whole thing rezoned, because it was supposed to be 4 different phases of Dove Ranch. And so they did phase 1, phase 2, and we belly upped on the other phases. And then we were able to purchase the land from the bank. And just so you know, I have had 3 different developers walk into my office and want to put 300 plus homes on there. So the 240 is the top 60 acres. The bottom parcel's another 11 acres, and behind the Pine Valley Heritage Arena is really just creating an opportunity to see our heritage and our, really what has built Bayfield for so many years. Is given an opportunity for that to be passed from generation to generation. All that kind of stuff is getting pushed out. I grew up, I was born and raised in Durango, and have lived back in Bayfield since 2001. And you're watching all of the heritage of just our Western heritage. You know, Durango's billed as a cowboy town, and you're watching it go away little by little. And we have opportunity as a church. Our heart is to bless our community. That's what we've been here from the beginning. And we're trying to do something to love on and create opportunities for our kids, for our community. And that's why we are here presenting this with you. I really have no desire to see 300 plus homes, and yes, all of those homes where I think there's 6 entrances going up Dove Ranch Road that will be coming out onto Dove Ranch Road where they exit, you know, whether they exit Cactus, whether they exit, I don't remember what the other one, Spruce? Mountain View. But I remember when Dove Ranch came in front of, the developers came in front of the Planning Commission, all of the homeowners in the old Dove Ranch, not the Dove Ranch, the old Bayfield area back there had the exact same complaint. That it's gonna create too much traffic coming to the schools, it's gonna create all this kind of, you know, and well, you're gonna change our view, you're going to, you know, so when Dove Ranch was originally presented, it was all the exact same piece. Now, it's all true. You know, we have all of this land back there. I know it's gonna change. There's a bunch of neighbors up there. I understand that, I get that. But we really are doing our best to create this thing that will be visually pleasing, handling the storm drainage. Dove Ranch, the developer left the town of Bayfield with the disaster. And so we have to mitigate all that. We understand that. We understand the entrance of 501. I get all that. All part of the process. But really, just the big picture. Our heart is to be a blessing to our Bayfield community. That's why we're here. We want to create opportunities for our kids, for you know, for this whole Western heritage that we have out here. And yeah, we're going to keep building. We got all these subdivisions coming in, dealing with all that, but we're not creating anything for all of these families and kids. We're just creating homes. And we're trying to come alongside it at no cost to the town of Bayfield, where the church is coming in, and it will create economics. Yes, we're a tax-free nonprofit, but when you bring those kind of things into this community, you're creating economics. To help handle some of the other issues that we're gonna have. And so I just, you know, really, we're here for the rezone side of this thing. My heart is not to see 300 homes, although I am a church, and that's what we're supposed to be after, right? 300 homes and go reach that. But I love our community. Been here for a long time, and really want to see some opportunities creating some new opportunity for our family and kids. And so I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you can be direct with me. You know, we have nothing to lose. We got our engineers here, we got our design team here. I know this is supposed to be specific for the rezone, but we can answer all those other questions and pieces as you need us to. And yeah.
If everything, I'm talking in the future now, because we're just talking zoning tonight, but let's say it got zoned, and then you went to build your whole arena up there, you'd have to widen the 501, right?
I'm under that assumption.
Right.
that the county will make us redo, anything that
Well,
we
you
do
already
as a
know they
church-
want you to do that.
Correct, we're gonna have to redo that, and
That's
it's
gonna have to happen,
it's a big ticket, yeah.
right,
And that'll probably have to happen first.
right. And then you wanna lease out part of your property to create a school.
I had made a verbal agreement with some people at Hope Christian, prior to the arena really taking off this last year, and I've been honoring that commitment to Hope. And, we would be leasing them for $1 a year. We're not in this to make money. We're blessed as it is, so it's not the point, at all. But to give them an ability to come in and use the bottom 11 acres, for, where the school would be, and I think the arena would be an incredible addition and benefit, and,
Now, hypothetically, they could use this, they could put that school there and use the 501 if you guys widen it, and not have to come in from Dove Ranch, which would cut down the traffic, which is upsetting a lot of people, right?
Yeah, in the long run, yeah, I mean, I think in the long run, you could absolutely, they could use our access, but that doesn't take care of anything in the short term, of what is, you know, what's available. And I would just, you know, even as a commission, you know, that, the access and traffic point for the school was that was the main concern of every Bayfield resident for Dove Ranch coming in.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I mean, there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to use our access, once we get there.
More Cowboys?
More Cowboys?
Yeah.
I thought you said go Cowboys. I was gonna say, lots of cowboys out here, and a lot of just families that really is what this legacy of our community is about. And we do have our engineers and stuff here from any of the other.
Well, this is just zoning,
Right.
so,
And just to put your heart at ease, Brian, I don't think I've actually met you personally, may have, I don't remember. We're in this to be a neighbor. We're not going anywhere, and so we're not coming in to try to take on one of those what did they call that? Unpermitted or
Yep.
Use by review.
Sure.
You know, everything we do, you know, we're here to be in this for our town.
Appreciate that.
We wanna be a blessing to our town. We don't wanna be and I know just the concept of something this size, makes people struggle, and I get that. But Bayfield's growing.
Oh.
And we're either gonna increase or we're gonna go downhill, cause nothing stays static. We either make some decisions on getting better, but nothing stays the same. And, we're trying to do our part to make sure our town keeps, as much as it up to us to, do better, at least the way we see it.
That was good. Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
So how do you see yourself being a better neighbor to the Dove Ranch residents with this improvement that you're proposing?
Couple ways. One, the flooding this year was bad on everybody. And with the design that we are doing for storm drainage, all of our drainage coming off of our land will come back into our property, so we will be taking care of that entire south end of the property line. One. Two, it's open land, but it's an eyesore. you've got thistles, you've got prairie dogs, you've got, you know, just, you've got teenagers flying through our property, going up, accessing the little party platform up above the water tower. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, and so we're putting a lot of work into beautification. We're putting a lot of work into, you know, creating buffers along that south fence line. And I know we're not gonna please everybody, but at the same time, creating something that is really for our Bayfield kids and family. 4-H stuff, all of that, creating opportunities for all of those. So kind of on a multiple level there.
Thank you.
Anything else for the applicant?
Nothing for me?
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. So,
Can I ask staff a question while we're in between having people?
In limbo?
Yeah, in limbo for a moment. So, assuming that this would get rezoned, the whole size of the arena, the whole parking thing, that would come to us under the use by review.
Correct.
So, I mean, literally, we could say you could have a 200-seat arena as a condition, or a 10,000 one. Okay,
Correct, yes.
so,
Yeah, we're just dealing with rezoning right now.
right. Correct.
Basically, they can go put 500 sheep out there if they want. If we rezone it and make it agricultural, or they can grow hay.
Okay, public.
okay. Open up again the public hearing. Ask anybody that'd like to speak to this to step up and state your name and address.
Yeah, Todd Perry, 81 Violet Lane in Bayfield. I've been around this community almost 50 years. I was the UPS driver here for 30.
I remember you.
Just been connected to the community for a long time, and I've kind of seen what happened to Durango. They kind of lost their identity, I would say, and I would like to see Bayfield not just be a bedroom community for Durango. And I think making this agriculture and the church being able to do this would give, and this event center would give some identity to Bayfield.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Bruce Evans, Fire Chief, Upper Pine River Fire Protection District, 515 Sour Drive, Bayfield. Just one of the things that the planning folks mentioned is that one of the criteria is, does it impact services? So, and I would tell you that the Upper Pine team has met with Scott and looked at his plans, and we've also been to several public meetings with our representatives. And we're sufficiently happy with the emergency egress that has been provided into the arena as it currently stands. And we're also very pleased about the designers putting in essentially a medical clinic so that we can get our ambulances in and out of the arena very quickly if there is something that catastrophically happens to somebody in one of these rodeos or one of the events. So as far as the impact from services in the fire and EMS realm, we feel that this has been sufficiently answered in the design phase of this project. So we would support the rezoning of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Trudy here. I look around the room and I'm probably one of the youngest people in this room. I hope that I can represent my generation and the generation below me. I want to tell you 4 things about myself and my background. My great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents homesteaded property here over 100 years ago. So we have a long line of generational farmers, ranchers in my family. Second of all, my husband went to college on a rodeo scholarship. He used to practice at the fairgrounds in Durango, rodeoing. It was a huge piece of his life and a game changer for the direction of his life. Thirdly, I used to be in 4-H. Over where La Platte's Pond is, or their ranch, is where we used to go for 4-H camps, down by the river, hang out. And then fourthly, I have a 7-year-old son. And I tell you all these things because I want my 7-year-old son to have all of those same experiences that we have here, or that I had and my husband had in our childhood. I want them to be able to raise horses. I want them to be able to show pigs and show cows and go to rodeos and learn about generational farming and soil and all the things that agricultural brings that is not being taught in our schools very much, if at all. Fourthly, I want to tell you 2 other things. My nieces right now show pigs, and their little family group, they have to go to they call them home shows. They rotate around different people's houses to practice showing their pigs, so that they can get ready for the 4-H. They have no location to go to. Occasionally they can go to the fairgrounds in Durango, but it's not like you can just rent out the fairgrounds for that. This arena would be a great opportunity for places like that, for the kids to come in, practice their events, do dog shows, do horse shows, do pig shows, whatever it is. It's not really to make a ton of money for the town, even though that's a side product of having bigger events, concerts, rodeos, whatever it is. The fourth thing is, I don't know if you guys know, but the NFR rodeo is happening right now. It's National Finals Rodeo.
Las Vegas.
There's 3 people from this region that are up there competing right now, and they're all locally grown kids. And where do they go to practice? Homegrown arenas, maybe the Downs and McNash show, but they drive 4 to 8 hours to go to events, to go to shows, to go to practices. What if we had an arena here for people to come and they bring all their people here, and that brings money into this area, into this community. So I'm in full support of this arena, and whatever you guys decide, I just hope that you consider the kids' perspective of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Virginia Layton. I own and live at 505 Dove Ranch Road. And tonight, I know that you're not considering the size of the arena. That'll come later, I suppose. But the size that's planned, 19,000 square feet, 2,000 seats. My house is right behind it. Now, I'm fine if you had little barns for 4-H. I'd be okay with a arena small enough so you could exercise a horse. I disagree with the pastor with regard to the eyesore. I look at his property every day and it's beautiful. It has deer, it has even the prairie dogs. It's the size of what's coming. Not tonight. Tonight, shall you be an agricultural zone? When I first saw it, I thought, oh, agriculture, that means pumpkin patch. Or it means a few horses, cows, sheep. All that's fine with most of us, I think. I should only speak for myself, but for most of the people I've talked to in Dove Ranch, we're not against 4-H, but we're against the monstrosity size that his plans are. It's too much. It's in the wrong place. It'd be nice if the church was just 501 further. This is 80 homes, and they're all beautiful, and they all pay taxes. And I just think this is the classic not in my backyard, so I guess I'm here to just say, not in my backyard, not at this size. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, let her, she was on her way up the last time, so.
Sorry,
Sure.
My name is Veronica Lester. I live at 415 County Road 523. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but my husband and his family, we ran sheep for many years. We really try to continue to honor that heritage of Bayfield. People move here, they live here, they love it here because of our rural roots and our history. And here tonight, you're asked to be voting on a rezone to agriculture. So we have a great opportunity to preserve a large portion of Bayfield and keep it ag. Yeah, that opens it up to other things you may not like, like RV parking or something, but the alternative, you heard Scott say, are developers and more homes. So I encourage you to consider the history of Bayfield, what we try and maintain in our community, and that is agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cree Black. My husband and I are at La Platts Pond and LRJ Ranch right here in Bayfield. I also, like Veronica, was not planning on speaking tonight, but I'm inspired by the NIMBYs. It just reminded me of a story recently when we very first heard about the idea of the fire department putting a new facility literally outside of our, living room window. Sorry, Chief, but at first I wasn't a huge fan of that idea. But my wonderful, wise husband reminded me that it was for the better of the community. So while there are many people who might love the fact that they can walk their dogs across the private property that is owned by the church, and that they can hike in those hillsides, and maybe they just moved here from another place because they want to retire in a small, quiet community, and they love that that property is vacant because it's a perk to them. I just asked them to think a little bit about the community that they have immersed themselves in, and remember that it's a generational thing. It's not always exactly what we want, but if it's for the better of the community, that's where my heart lies. So I am also a fan of this project. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Morris. I'm at 523 Dove Ranch Road. We've been there for 18 years. A couple of things I'd like for you to consider. We also are not against 4-H or the arena. A couple of things, though, that I'm curious about is it seems to me that the only way that this project can move forward is with the zone change. And I'm wondering if the agricultural change is the only option for the church to build this project, or if there are other options. And I'm also, what has not been brought up tonight is the potential change in value to our homes. If it changes to a different type of zoning, I think that that's a concern for everybody that lives along the road that will be directly butting up against that. If it was going to be changed to agriculture and then have actual agricultural things on there, that would not be a concern probably. But to have the event center up there, I think that that's the bigger concern, and we know that this zone change is going to lead towards that. It may not come to fruition the way that it's being portrayed in the end, but at this point in time, this is the first step. So those are some things that I would like for you to consider.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Daniel Layton. I live at 505 Dove Ranch. And I would just like to make the point that I'm hearing this presented as either there's this huge development, 300 houses, or the rodeo comes. And those aren't the only two options. This does not have to be this grand project with a huge parking lot, thousands of people, rock concerts. There could be something beautiful that is good for the community used in this space. And if the point is to be a good neighbor, then there's other great ideas, hiking trails, something beautiful. And I just think that we don't want to get lost in either we give the rodeo or we're giving 300 houses over.
Thank you.
Paul Black, you got here from my wife earlier. I just wanna touch base on the ag zone. I was on the committee that kind of designed that ag zone. As was spoken by staff, you know, there's a lot of different things in there, and the number one question when we're looking at this is, everybody knows that ag property is going away at an alarming rate. It's just the land is far too valuable not to develop it. It's basically what happens is farmers and ranchers, I can speak from experience, you know, ag and ranching is a good way to pretty much almost go bankrupt. So, when we were looking at this zone, we really talked about how can we preserve ag land and what can it mean? Yes, all this land around Bayfield is ag land, and it's going to subdivisions. We do need homes as well. We have a lot of subdivisions going in right now in the town of Bayfield. So this ag zone was designed to try to create some open space, some different uses of the land besides just going to develop into homes. So I just wanted to clarify a little bit of that. It has a lot of different uses because, speaking for us, we can't make it just in agriculture and ranching with our cattle and hay operations. We have to do outside sources to provide, to keep us to stay at. We have a venue on our property. That property would not be able to sustain if we didn't have that. So when you look at those other uses in that ag zone, that's the idea of it, to try to preserve the open space, the ag area that we do have around, and also, you know, we know we'll have developments coming in as well. So that's where that ag zone came from. It was talked several times about, there's a million different things that we could throw in there. We tried to come up with a few different examples. There's gonna be more of them that come up because each property is gonna be specific, you know, beekeeping and flowers and greenhouses or whatever it might be. So that was the idea behind it, is how can we sustain ag and allow some uses to help these folks be able to keep their ag operations going. So.
Thank you.
I'm Rodney Hawker. We got property on 160 and kind of around. What I wanted to come up and present to you guys is a vision for the community. My grandfather was a concrete superintendent for Bayfield. His father plowed the streets of Ignacio with the tin wheels. Well, our family's been here since 1916. And the heritage is a big thing in this community. Like here recently, they stopped doing Fiesta Days in Durango. It sat in my parents' hearts because they remember that as kids. They were both born and raised here. My kids are sixth generation now. Bayfield was a big vision, right? So is this whole event center and community center, and that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be for the people here. Whether you're ag or not, it's gonna impact you in a positive way. There's a lot of love and compassion and planning that's gonna bring good things and good people into this community. So I'd like you to see the bigger vision of all this. I know there's some other things, but I know Pastor Scott is very willing to work with the community and with you guys, and so it's a win-win for everybody. So as a visionary thing like Bayfield Dam, back in the day, my grandfather was the first dam commissioner. That was a big idea that there was probably people going, well, how's that gonna affect everything? But look at what a blessing it's become to this community and this family. Thank you.
I'm sure back in the day, your grandfather was, to some people, a D-A-M-N, and other ones were a D-A-M. I said, was it your grandfather was involved with the dam?
Yeah.
But I'm sure back in the day, there were a group of people that thought when you said dam, you meant D-A-M-N, and some said D-A-M. Okay, Brian, you ready? Oh, one
So-
more.
Lucy Stewart, I'm a resident of Bayfield, I've been here since '77. I don't like and have not liked from the first time that I've heard about this project is that there's like a lot of stuff that gets slid in under the line. And they talk about one thing, and then the next thing, when they come before a different group, then we bring a little bit more out. I really feel that they're not being truthful with us, with the commission, or anybody else. I feel like there's more to this project, and I have no interest in it, but I think it's way too big for the community of Bayfield. And what happens in Durango, that's their business. But what happens in Bayfield does affect me. And I would like that you guys, before you vote and allow all these changes and everything that's coming into town, I would like to see you guys to look at it and really see if that's something that we need, or something that's gonna make a good impact for us, for the, whatever life we have, but then for also our children. I just feel like there's too much hidden in this project, that things come out little at a time, little at a time. I just think something isn't kosher here. And so I ask you guys to really think about this project before you start changing the zoning and changing what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Greetings. Speak again.
Name.
I don't think that, the designation of agriculture is the proper designation.
Name and address, please.
I think that the proper designation would be, public, well, community service. And, just as a general rule. But that said, I'm concerned about the size of the project. I see it as probably too large for the area. There are other large parcels of ground around the community that might be better suited to a proposal like this, such here as west of town, where between here and Hogs are beautiful. However, give this good consideration if you do it. I mean, don't be afraid to condition the hell out of it if you do it, so that the community benefits in the best possible way. But I think that you guys have a real question on your hands here for sure. Where I sit up there, I don't know where I would vote, to be honest with you. But I might lean towards denial.
Can you add your name to the record?
David Black.
Thank you. Come on, Brian. Come on, Brian. We got 2 more big projects.
See anybody else coming up? So,
Could you ask if there's anyone online that wants to speak?
is there any?
like to speak from online?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Zach Milkey, 401 Dove Ranch Road. We spoke last week about being against the access to the school through Dove Ranch and the impacts that would be involved there. But we do, both of my wife and I come from agricultural backgrounds, rodeo backgrounds, and we do support the rezoning of that 60 acres to agricultural. That's all I have.
I'm Jason Winslow at 606 Del Ranch Road. Agriculture, I think, is a good thing. My in-laws all raised agriculture, they grew up in the area. My son would love to have a cow in the backyard until there's not enough room, right? So I think the project's good. My main concern, however we zone it, is the safety. Up Del Ranch Road, using those 6 roads, come and sit by my house, you see people speeding all the time. And then in the community, do we have enough restaurants, gas stations, different things to support the people after they are done at the event center? Drive down project overall, to be successful, I'd love to see Hope Christian School here. But I think it's a bigger picture we need to look about the town, where people are gonna spend their money afterwards. Because we want that money to stay here in Bayfield. And change is hard. We're from a small town, now in another small town, people don't like change. If we do it the right way, to be successful. Let's make sure we keep the dollars here in Bayfield. Doesn't matter how we zone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, get back to the right spot here. Move to item 2A.1, action on the Pine Valley Church rezone.
I thought we were gonna go ahead and vote on this project before we went on to the next one.
That is the next one. That
That's
would
the
be
next
the
one,
action on this
A1.
item.
It's the action.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was sleeping.
So you're gonna,
We have any other discussion, planning commission? Questions?
So I would be okay with leaving it agricultural, but it seems like it's pretty loose in the recommendations. So I would make a motion that we say no to rezone the R1 single-family residence agricultural for purposes of the arena and special events.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
So, being that it's agricultural, it seems like it's pretty loose. And that anything can come in, like say the RV park under the agricultural. Because I would be like all for it if it was like goats, cows, chickens, and all that. But it seems pretty loose with that. And so that's why I'm making a motion not to rezone it from R1 to agricultural.
Can we have a
But I
discussion
think-
first?
R10,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
R10, sorry.
I think the agricultural zone, though, the requirement for a RV park, an event center, an arena, it all says it's all use by review. So it's what they're talking about, anything would have to come back through planning commission, through the trustees, so.
And the other thing is with regard to agriculture, and we have a couple other things like this, I think it's time for us as a commission and a town to take a look at some of these zones we now have, like the ag zone, and sort of retool it a little bit. Maybe it's a little too broad. I know that came up when the ag zone was proposed. But it was a better than nothing theory at that time. But now as we start getting into what people want to do or can do, even use by right or review, I think we need to sort of revisit some of these land use classifications we have in the town. Just my opinion.
Do I need to say something? Is that what everybody's
Yeah.
looking at me for?
Yeah.
I just want everybody to understand that if it gets rezoned, anything they do there, besides put a bunch of sheep out there, like build an arena,
Comes back before us.
that's gonna have to come back before us. They're gonna have to do all kinds of hoops and barrels and jumps to get these things okayed. All we would be doing today is saying, hey, you can no longer build 240 houses there. You can only do what our town says is agricultural, which encompasses a lot, and I agree with Commissioner here that we do need to get that finite down to say, hey, this is what that actually means.
There are uses that they can come in, it's not just throwing some animals out there. There are uses that they can come in that are not used by a review, that involve construction. What were those, Nancy?
in the whole list?
No, not the whole list, but what are,
What can they do
What
that they
uses
wouldn't
are
have to
not
come
used by
back to
review?
us?
Single family home?
Well, that's right now.
no, that's in
No,
the
that's
agricultural
agricultural.
designation as well.
That's why the agricultural classification is so flawed.
See,
You could have single-family detached, two-family homes, duplexes, manufactured homes, upper floor residential, accessory dwelling units, minor utility uses, agricultural service-oriented uses, and agricultural production-oriented uses. We could have a, what do they call that, where they have the feedlot out there, according to that one. Wouldn't even require a review.
Right, so I think, like you said, it needs to be tightened up, because I'd rather see single-family homes back there if it's not agriculture. I don't wanna see other things.
You'd rather have 240 homes back there.
Just for the record, a feedlot is a use by review.
Is it?
Yes.
I apologize. What do I know?
Can I speak real quick, Dalton?
Talk to him.
It's just,
Name again?
fall back, 311 County Road 501. When we talk about all those single, homes, multifamily homes, that came from the ag zone of, right now I'm in the county, and I can't build a home for my children.
Right.
So that allows you to do it, but what it doesn't allow you to do is subdivide your land. So you can't break off a small section of ground that's gonna have a new parcel attached to it. If we're afforded to be able to build a house, we can build a house by that use. But we can't subdivide the land and make it its own parcel for that. So that's why you have all of those house designations in there. So that just, if that helps that, it's pretty loose, but there was a design for that.
I remember. I remember.
So if I understand it right, if we do ag, they could build one house out there, or a whole bunch of one houses for one person?
No.
You can't
No.
subdivide it?
It's 10,000 square feet. If you have 10,000 square feet of open land, you'd have to submit a site plan to build that house. But you're not subdividing the land for each one of those parcels, so
You only get one.
you, yeah.
So all these things you listed, they can only,
No, the houses, I mean, the whole object when they did the agricultural zone was, I'm a rancher, my kids wanna stay on the property, I don't wanna have to move out of my house, could I put a house up for the kids to live in? And the answer was yes, so it was a single house per property, but not 12 houses. I mean, I remember that came up with, what about workers?
There is a piece on there, it says per square footage. You can put a house on if you have this much square
Right.
footage. And I think it's 12,000 or 10,000 square feet. You can put a house on that. If you have another open 10,000, you can put a house on that. But what you can't do is you can't make those their own
Separate houses.
individual parcels. And the talk was about illegal subdivisions and stuff, and it would be somebody paying a lot of money, most people can't build a house on their own without going to the bank.
Right.
The bank's not gonna give you money to loan if they don't have a parcel of land attached to that house.
Right.
So you have to become a civil ranch.
So do we have a motion pending? Or did you wanna?
Maybe we need to look at this in a different scape and look at what agriculture really is and table it.
I'm not sure that's fair, but, I mean, then you could take almost any project to come before this commission and say, I don't like the way it fits into the current regulations. Let's hold off and try and change the regulations, maybe.
Well, it's not, tighten up the regulations because they seem like they're pretty loose. You tighten them up and then you move forward from that.
When was the last time we tightened up any regulations?
I don't know, ask our planner.
They're not loose, you should have been prepared to have this conversation.
Right.
Well, I still make a motion that, no, we don't rezone it.
could we condition an approval to say that any development would have to go through a use by review process?
You really can't condition a rezone. You need to deal with the zoning that's in place now. Code that's in place now.
Do we have a lack of a second here?
Sounds like it.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to move, might as well, hang on, let me get to it. All right, I'm gonna move, we recommend approval of the rezone with the findings, the rezone proposal as submitted is consistent with the intent of the Bayfield Comprehensive Plan and Land Use Code. The rezone as submitted meets the rezone factors spelled out in section 3-10. If the zone is approved, any proposed development will be required to go through the town of Bayfield's process, which includes coming to the planning commission. And that also would include at that point in time, the whole traffic issue, ingress and ingress, et cetera. And the condition would be that if the Board of Trustees decides to rezone the property, which they have to approve yet, the board will adopt an ordinance rezoning the property. 2, the use by review submitted shall include all requirements in Land Use Code Section 3-11. The use by review submittal shall address all the review agency comments listed in the staff report, and the applicant shall submit an agreement signed by the applicant, the property owner, and the Los Pinos Ditch Company, the ditch company easement holder, or a letter of consent from the ditch company for piping and design the ditch and irrigation systems through the property, with the use by review submittal. An agreement with the ditch company shall be required prior to Town of Bayfield approval of the development and prior to construction. Period. That's a lot.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lyon,
Yes.
Commission Member,
Tenza, yes.
sorry. Commission Member Never,
No.
Commission Member Gad,
Yes.
Commission Member O'Shea, Hazelwood.
Yes.
Do you have it?
So the motion, I'm just gonna, so the motion carried, that's a recommendation, we have not yet scheduled the review in front of the Board of Trustees, who will make the final decision. All of you that were noticed on this hearing will get notice of the Board of Trustees.
Brian, you want to let everybody who's here for that one go if they want it?
If anybody would like to leave after that hearing, feel free to do so. So we move on through our agenda.
Because you know it's not gonna pass the Board of Trustees.
Oh, yeah?
No way. 1, 2, I know 4 people on the board that say no.
Yeah, more so.
Well,
Could
the
be.
next thing is very interesting.
Yeah. I think that the Board of Trustees needs to look at the potential financial implications.
There's no financial implications
There
for
isn't?
it, though.
Can you imagine, I mean, the one guy you brought up, which is true. Now, I don't think all the restaurants in downtown Bayfield, because I work on Mill Street, are closed. But can you imagine if you had events going on? Where are people going to stay when they come from out of the area? They don't have a place.
It's not so much that. What about being a good neighbor?
Yeah.
For
Right.
People at Dove
I
Ranch.
mean, I agree with you.
I agree. I think we ought to put
My thing
240
is,
homes in there.
By making it agricultural now, they can't develop it into 200 houses.
That's my point.
But they can put a mobile home park in.
If we okay.
If we okay.
Anything that comes.
That's still a
before
thing.
us.
That's not a guarantee.
That's not, see, all,
Like that's what
An
it-
agricultural-
everything he has on this
We may
proposal
come forward with those
is
with
not a
no
guarantee.
findings by review.
Not
If you
yet.
scroll over on this chart,
It's not letting
Well, yeah, but that's okay.
Used car
so
sales.
up here's
No,
the
see, my thing is,
A
what
zone
we
here.
just did here is we made
it's
it where
all
they can't
past
put
that.
240 houses there.
We opened the zone up. We created a buffer. What happens to it? Who knows?
So over on this edge here further, this is agricultural zone, so all this is
Well, I know, but
feedlot or dairy is
that's
used
why
by
we vote
review.
no on that.
You know,
I don't even want the
So,
house.
you
Warren
already have the
Denise
dark skies
permitted.
thing for Bayfield. Yes, it did.
Yeah, so if they were, I'm
it
just
did.
pointing out that they could come before us
Well,
with these
she better
uses
read
and they're
the
not.
minutes of the meeting.
That's what
No.
Nancy was saying.
This event center, arena, the mill would all be a review.
That's what these
Just
are
gotta
the
move this along.
enumerated
We're gonna have
by
another
us.
hour
They
on.
are, okay.
At least
I
2
thought
more
the other
hours.
way around.
Now, what, this was a good thing that I pushed to our.
Hey, Brian, we got at least 2 more hours with these next two.
If he comes up
right.
and says he wants a 20,000, that's not gonna happen. That's fucking ridiculous.
If we can move on to,
What's next? Get rid of that.
Nancy to come back.
Bayfield,
Gonna close the door.
Bayfield Riverside annexation, initial zoning.
Okay, moving on, public hearing agenda item 2B, Bayfield Riverside annexation and initial zoning, annexation of 37.58 acres and initial zoning to B business of 37.58 acres located at 41743 US Highway 160, Bayfield, Colorado.
I think we're confusing the two projects there. This request is Clover Meadows Phase 8 sketch plan, and,
I have item 2B on the agenda,
oh,
is Bayfield Riverside.
I'm confusing items.
It's all right. It's been a long night already.
Because some of our documents say Tuesday the 9th and others say Wednesday the 9th. Wait a second, what are we hearing on the 9th?
Okay, well, Tuesday's the 9th. I don't see any Wednesdays.
The email we got this morning was talking about another meeting tomorrow
Right,
night.
the meeting tomorrow is the
It had as the 9th.
oh, did it? I saw
Yeah.
the 10th.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah, tomorrow night's
Neither.
nightmare too.
Okay, sorry. So the proposal before you is an annexation and initial zoning to be called the Bayfield Riverside annexation. It's also referred to sometimes as outdoorsy. The proposal includes the existing RV park, which would be consistent with the proposed business zone. It also includes a larger vacant parcel, which is located on the northwest corner of Highway 160 and County Road 501. The total proposal is 37.58 acres, and I think I was told, we'll keep going. Their annexation includes the two contiguous parcels totaling just over 37 acres. It kind of between the Pine River, although it does not abut the Pine River, the property does abut County Road 501. The western parcel, as I said, has the existing RV park. The eastern parcel is currently vacant with some outbuildings. As far as annexation, let's go through the comprehensive plan review. The comprehensive planned goals for this property include I've made some notes of some that it does appear are consistent. The parcels are within the 3-mile plan, future growth boundary for the town, and they're designated general commercial on the future land use map. So the business zone would be consistent with, the proposed business zone would be consistent with that. You can leave that open if people have cleared out.
It's still crowded.
Okay. The comprehensive plan goals, other than the future land use map, I've included a couple in there. They do specifically speak to identifying, annexing county enclaves along Bayfield Parkway, Highway 160, and County Road 501 that would provide a benefit to the town. Their prioritized development adjacent to existing utilities and site new commercial buildings, including mixed use along Highway 160 and other primary corridors, so they are easy accessible to area residents and visible to visitors. This property seems to be described almost exactly by those goals in the comprehensive plan. Look, I added a couple other, like encourage tourism that focuses on the enjoyment of Bayfield's natural recreation, cultural and historic resources. So it does appear that the proposed annexation and initial zoning are consistent with that comprehensive plan. As far as the land use code, I've got the requirements in there pursuant that for an annexation, you are to make a recommendation on the proposed zoning and annexation, and of course the annexation and zoning will be considered by the Board of Trustees for approval or denial. There are specific criteria in state statute as far as eligibility for annexation. The first one is whether there is not less than 1/6 of the perimeter of the area already adjacent to the town. This does seem to meet, or it does clearly meet that requirement. And it was noted to me that I may have the wrong percent, but that this project is more than 1/6 contiguous to the town limits. The next criteria is there an area of interest? Is it within the future growth boundary and the 3-mile plan? The park, existing RV park is already served by town sewer. And really the location is at almost the entrance to the town for all travelers coming from the west. I think quite a few people think that it's already in town, but of course it's not. As far as the other criteria, I don't know that I'm going to go over all of those. It really does meet all the state statute and not violate any of those. As far as the initial zoning review with the proposal to be zone business, the designation is appropriate for the existing park. It's also consistent with the comprehensive plan designation of general commercial. I did note that while much of the existing park is located within the regulatory floodplain, both parcels include some significant property outside of the floodplain area, which would be appropriate for business and commercial type uses. We did send this project out for referral agencies. We did not get a lot of comment back, but the two that we heard from, the Upper Pine Fire Protection District and STM, the town's contract engineer, both responded with a no comment. Just make note, really, any additional development on these properties would be subject to all provisions of the land use code, including site plan and use by review procedures. So this would be a recommendation. We have, due to noticing requirements on an annexation, we have scheduled this for town board review on Monday, Tuesday, which is December 16th. So you again have your normal recommendations as far as you may approve, deny, or continue the request. Staff did go through that analysis, is recommending approval or suggesting that you recommend approval to the Board of Trustees, finding that the annexation and zoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan and all requirements of the Land Use Code and Municipal Annexation Act of 1965 in the Colorado Revised Statute. Are there any questions?
Yes. Yes, questions. Sort of a generic question, but a specific generic question. What's the advantage to the town of Bayfield to annex this property?
Well, if we go back to the comprehensive plan, you're gonna provide significant additional land for business uses. Sales tax, I guess, from the existing RV park that you're really already serving with sewer. What else we got?
Right now, the RV park is that the taxes don't go to us from that sales tax.
Right.
Correct.
Because the lodger's tax was voted down.
Right. And the county gets it, though?
Yes.
Okay. What's the disadvantage for the annexation to the town, for the town?
You'd have to serve it with police instead of the sheriff, although I imagine the town police probably respond already.
Fire probably already responds.
Yeah, well, it won't change with the fire district. It's still in the district. Really, there's very little change.
Except we capture some additional revenue for the town.
And it's a very high visibility corner potential for additional commercial uses.
So if they wanted, if we didn't have it annexed, gotta get my pronunciation right there, and they wanted to do something else with the property, they'd have to go to the county for it.
Correct.
So we never know, we at that point don't have, as a town, don't have control over what they're gonna put there if the county has control over it.
That's true. I don't believe the town has an intergovernmental agreement with the county
none
as
of it there.
far as requiring annexation of a parcel, so, yes.
Okay, that's all I had, thank you.
People talk on this one.
Questions? Oh, go ahead.
I don't have any more questions. You got any questions? Staff?
I was looking at that floodplain, wow. That trailer park's kinda in the floodplain, right? Surprised, the county didn't care, but
Just for the record there, so the red color in the floodplain is the floodway, where
Yeah.
you wouldn't wanna locate really any uses.
Right.
The blue is the 100-year floodplain. And again, RV parks can be a good use of the floodplain often, because you can move them out of there before a flood might come in. And then the yellow is the 500-year floodplain. And usually I don't believe the town or county now regulate any uses in the 500-year floodplain.
thank you.
Anything else? Would the applicant like to speak?
Hi, Naomi Reese, agent for the applicant. And just on that last point, the campgrounds, the RV park's been there for a long time. And I know for a fact the county didn't even review it, so.
Yeah. I was just curious.
Yeah.
I looked at that picture and I went, wow, okay.
Yeah, I think it's been there since the sixties
Yeah.
originally. So thank you for taking the time to review our annexation petition. And thanks to staff for all their work on the application. Our petition demonstrates full compliance with state annexation statutes. The parcels along Highway 160 represent a natural and appropriate extension of town boundaries, meeting all legal criteria. The proposal directly supports the priorities established in the comprehensive plan. The plan recognizes that any increase in sales tax revenue is a net positive for Bayfield. And this annexation provides that benefit through an operating existing business. The minute it's annexed, you'll start getting revenue. It'll become part of the community immediately. Additionally, you'll see improved coordination of land use along a critical corridor and greater tourism infrastructure through an existing lodging facility. Bayfield Outdoorsy is very eager to formalize their role as a contributing member of Bayfield. We view this annexation as advancing shared goals of strengthening the town's economic foundation, supporting thoughtful growth management, and enhancing overall community prosperity. We appreciate your consideration and respectfully request your approval. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and I'd also like to reserve the right to come back up if there's any comments from the audience.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes.
Go.
We talked about the floodplain, and it seems to me those borders were adjusted a couple of years ago.
They were just last year, I think.
Yeah, and even before that, because I remember when the county was in. What about storm drainage? I mean, that's a big topic here in the town of Bayfield. Can you address that a little bit?
Well, actually, the property manager is here this evening, and he probably knows exactly
Okay.
where there might be.
So he can be prepared for that
manholes.
question when he finally gets up.
Right.
Okay, all right. That's all I had.
I also might comment, Commissioner Tenska, on your question about any net negative to the town. And I really, truly do not see anything. This is positive.
Shocking.
I know. Okay. John, you want to tell them where the manhole covers are?
So I have a quick question of staff before you start, but you could stay there. So any future development of this property is subject to then, therefore, if it's annexed, all of our code requirements, et cetera, traffic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That is correct.
Okay. Your turn.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
My name's John. I do not live in Bayfield. I live in Durango. But I live in the Jarvis building, though, so I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, I'm the general manager over at Outdoors Bayfield. At the moment, we have, let's see, there are 4 storm drains on site, 2 of which lead into those, I don't really know how to describe it. It's like the little creek that ends up across 160 into our neighbor's property on the other side there. And then the other 2 go into Los Picos.
So they are already established, basically?
Already established.
Okay.
How'd you guys do in that big rain?
We did pretty good. We only had we had a slight amount of flooding, but not bad at all. And then none of it was in the park itself.
And I know there's a ton of parents with children that appreciate that one drainage going that way, because during the summer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's awesome, so, yeah, we're stoked about it. We're happy about it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would open up for public comments. If anyone would like to come up, state your name and address, please.
Brian Blanchard, 627 Louisiana Drive. One quick question is, currently under La Plata County it's zoned commercial. So they would have to go through whatever La Plata County would require for them to develop that property. And there is a process that La Plata County has as well. So it's already in place. If you take it on, then it comes under your purview of how to develop that property and what could go in there. But they're also asking to change the status to business. I don't know what that is. I couldn't find it in your land use code. Maybe Nancy knows. What is business rather than commercial? What does it allow? You need to know that. Because if you're gonna change that, you need to know what's gonna come next under what you've allowed them to do.
Thinking that car dealership, is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking of a feedlot.
Feedlot?
That's agriculture.
That's ag.
So if I
They
have,
want a feedlot.
if I have the right code up, there is a definition of the business district.
Is what?
There's a definition of the business district in the code.
And what's allowed in that?
This district is intended to provide an area which allows the location of retail, office, service establishment, and certain light industrial uses where those uses are generally compatible with other allowed business uses and which generate very low levels of noise, vibration, smoke, odor, dust, fumes, or danger of explosion or environmental contamination, and other uses subject to review, as set forth in the use table.
So, knowing that is what you're going to approve. That's all I'm after, is knowing what we're approving, moving forward with whatever that development might become. Because it's a critical thing.
So per 4.4, that, thank you for pointing that to me earlier. The feedlot's not allowed.
Right. Darn it.
So what is light industrial?
Well, they could put like an office building there if they wanted, yeah.
Or they could put, like, you got the trailer place that's going on 501, you could put that there.
Oh, the new one that just
The new
went
one
up,
that's just going up.
The camper place.
Yeah,
camper place.
They could do that.
As long as it environmentally
Yeah.
didn't make
Smoke.
smoke and, yeah.
So a gas station would be permitted,
Yep.
limited vehicle service would be permitted, vehicle sales would be permitted,
Motel?
probably.
That's
Light
what they want.
lumberyard is use by review, electrician or plumber could have an officer. Some other use by reviews for warehouses or freight movement, wholesale trade, waste related, is a use by review. Motel, overnight accommodations would be a use by review. A bed and breakfast would be permitted
Without review.
without review.
But no building, but no building, just.
They couldn't build it, but they can,
Depends on what you want to call it, I guess.
they can put tents out there and call it a bed and breakfast.
Mhm. As long as they got eggs, they're good.
They're good.
Okay. Public on it?
Please.
Paul Black, 311 County Road 501. We're the neighbors directly north of this property. We've, as you guys know, we do have a venue there. This is about the only place in Bayfield that anybody can stay. With their tents and everything, I know there's been some challenges with some of the stuff with the county and moving forward, but it's been a great relationship. It's been nice. They've been great neighbors. I want to hit on the stormwater aspect. Since we're in the water critical zone, all the water has to get back to the river, and they are very, very close to the river. So that makes that scenario much better than most other subdivisions that we have here. The storm outlets are actually, those are water coming off of my property from irrigating. That goes directly through their property, and goes into the mill stream is what that park is across the town owns. That's the water that used to feed the mills on Mill Street. That is managed on the river at some point. You know, we shut it on and off. It also feeds the bean ditch just right down here as well. So that's a pretty unique opportunity that you actually have a location that is close to the river for stormwater to get back to the river. Kind of a downside for them is when you annex into the town of Bayfield, it does change their taxing. You know, they will be paying about roughly 5 more mills in taxes, which would be directly going to the town. So when you compare those taxing districts, you know, that's the perk of that was getting services and being in the town. So with us to the north, you know, we've been paying very close attention to it. They've been great neighbors. It's been there a very long time. The change of the flood plain also affected us. We're pretty much the only 2 properties I know of that actually increased largely rather than decreased for most people. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
I do have a question for Naomi, if I can ask that.
Ooh.
Sorry, that was just my water bottle.
So assuming this got approved, and assuming they were gonna go ahead, I know I'm ahead of the game because that's not the question at the time, but assuming they were gonna go ahead and develop it, they would have to do mitigation to comply with the ditch requirements, whether it's servicing or piping or whatever the ditch is gonna require, correct?
Oh,
And whose ditch is this one?
Yeah.
It's, so there's a couple of headings off of there. There's the Higby ditch that actually feeds them. It's their commercial well. That's how they have water for their commercial well for an augmentation plant. That's the only ditch that directly feeds their property. The Schroeder ditch also has water shares in it, but the Schroeder ditch, they're the last user of that lateral on that. And then there is the island ditch, and I think there's a heading on your guys' property. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it goes across 160. That's already piped and in structure. So basically all the ditches that are on their property right now is just their sole use because they are the last users of it.
Right. So basically, with all the ditches, there's no room for development anyway.
Well, I mean, there's a vacant piece.
Just
There-
kidding.
There's no intention to redevelop the RV park. It's as is.
As is.
Okay, that's all I had.
Would anyone else like to speak to this item? Any other discussion from planning commission? We'll close the public hearing and move to item 2B1, action on Bayfield Riverside annexation and initial zoning.
I motion that we recommend approval to the Board of Trustees with the following findings and conditions. The findings are: A, the annexation and initial zoning proposal as submitted is consistent with the intent of the comprehensive plan.
A little bit bigger, Brent.
Thanks, I'm reading off my phone. B, the annexation and initial zoning proposal as submitted is consistent with the intent of Land Use Code and the Municipal Annexation Act of 1965 and the Colorado Revised Statutes, Section 31-12 criteria. And then 2 conditions. A, future submittals shall be consistent with Planning Commission and Board of Trustees approved annexation, ordinance, plat, and agreement. And B, prior to the second review by the town trustees, the applicant shall enter into an annexation agreement with the town of Bayfield.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lyon,
Yes.
Commissioner Tinsett,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Gad,
Yes.
and Commissioner O'Shea Hyder.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
that group can leave.
All right, moving on.
Moving to item 2C, Clover Meadows 8 PUD sketch plan and PUD for 69 multifamily units on 5.6 acres located at 750 Orchard Drive. Nancy?
Okay, thank you. I hope I'm on the right project now. This is a request for a sketch plan and rezone to PUD for a project that would result in 69 townhome units on the 5.6 acres located at 750 Orchard Drive. It was be considered phase 8 of Clover Meadows. The comp plan, it is high-density residential, with an average of 8.5 to 20 units to the acre. The proposed density is 12.3 units to the acre. As far as some background, this project has been through a review. In 2018, it was rezoned from single-family R10 to multifamily. And then it went through one review in 2023. The findings then were that it was non-compliant. It was resubmitted in October 2024. There were again some concerns with compliance. We had it resubmitted in October 2025. In other words, it's time to review this one. The current plan by rezoning to PUD is an attempt to address all issues previously identified. So the intent of this is simply a sketch plan to consider the layout of the subdivision. Additional steps going forward would be the combined preliminary plat and rezone to PUD, which would come back to this board and then on to the town board. And then the final step, of course, would be final plat with, which could, are we okay?
Just she tried to move them down the hall a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Final plat, which could be conducted in, and likely will consist of phases. The proposal includes 12 buildings for a total of 69 townhomes. Like I said, multiple phases. They are proposing a mix of 2 to 3 bedrooms. As you can see from the layout, they have pedestrian entrances with access through, there'll be a public street through that would connect on through. Got to get the Orchard Drive and Sunflower Lane. And then within the development, the units themselves would be served with private drives. I think, as you can see, all on-site parking would be either on street or within garages, with a few small off-street parking spaces for, I guess, largely for guests. So it includes 138 off-street parking spaces. Those are the garage spaces. There's only 7 on-street parking spaces to comply with the town code. They want to make note that this does not include the approximately 43 undesignated on-street parking that would be along the proposed sections of Orchard Drive and Sunflower Lane. The project is within the existing town development area and has ability to connect. In this case, it will connect the town street network with Orchard and Sunflower, and it will also be able to connect with town water, sewer, and all other utilities. I did make note, so at the next stage of review, the preliminary plan and rezone, there are a number of reports that will be required in addition to the actual preliminary plat. We would have a traffic impact report, road plans and profiles, preliminary drainage report, erosion control plan, grading plan, geotech, on and on. So there's a number of detailed reports that would still be required. Some of them have actually been submitted, but at this point we weren't reviewing those. We're just looking at the layout, density, etc. There are some notes that the dead end accesses, there was some concern with that. In excess of 150 feet, there's concerns with the fire code. The proposal, they're 152 feet, but the applicants have worked closely with the fire district, and by signing them as close as we've only got 2 feet of variance in there, and making sure that there's no parking in there. In other words, the fire department is now in agreement with this layout the way it's proposed. There also make note that fire hydrants would be installed at the ends of the approved dead-end type roads. As far as zoning, the proposal is, because they're rezoning to PUD, of course, it's going to be consistent with what they're asking for. As far as the number of uses, it does comply with the existing zoning for the property. The reason to go to the PUD is to address some of the issues with parking, with the dead-end accesses, and largely those two. But it also allows for quite a bit of flexibility with the unit design and the access. What else? It's consistent with the comprehensive plan designation with the density. The review agencies, I provided all their comments. There was quite a few. Like I said, the fire district did work. They worked with the fire district very closely to get a design that the fire district was in approval of. The ditch company had some concerns, of course, and just to make note, prior to the meeting, these arrived, we got 2 comments that arrived today, or yesterday. One from the ditch company, the Schroeder Ditch, who said that they have worked, that they've looked at the staff report, and as long as the conditions that are in there are complied with, they do not have any other comments. The county did offer some comments. The road and bridge maintenance shop is directly north of this proposed development, and generally the county just wanted to make note that it is an industrial area, there would be noise. Stormwater detention is right next to the parcel, drains to the south, and that any residential development should anticipate noise levels higher than typical for a residential neighborhood. It is zoned industrial to the north. And although, they said most activity at the facility occurs at daytime, however, in the winter, maintenance and other activities associated with adverse weather can occur at any time of day or night. So, essentially, I think I'll sum up with that. Staff has reviewed it. There is a recommendation there for approval of the sketch plan, finding that it is consistent with the comprehensive plan and land use code. There are quite a few conditions as far as what all would need to be submitted at the next stage of review, and requirements to work with agencies, including the Schroeder Ditch, LPEA, the Phase 6 property owners and HOA to determine if any easements are needed for irrigation. There is a Clover Drive Bayfield Parkway intersection improvement fee that this development would be subject to. This would be determined at the time of preliminary plat. There was a suggestion that they add a small playground area similar to what Fox Farm Village PUD provided, and that they'll need to get stormwater construction permits prior to any excavation. Are there any questions?
Yes. Can you save me some time having to dig, and what was the last non-compliant issue that they had? That they had to remedy? Do you know what that was?
I believe it was the dead end, what they were calling dead end access roads, and the length of those.
The drive aisles in between each unit.
Okay, that's good.
The ones that in between the units.
We'll follow up with you when we get to that point, but that's good. Okay, that's all I had. Full disclosure, I live in Clover Meadows Phase 7 on Sunflower Lane, so there's gonna be some impact to me. Personally, but I can separate that from the law.
Re-educate me on parking on the street.
Yeah.
whether it's allowed or not.
Well, I know it's allowed, but what they were proposing, because if it's a 2-car garage, they should be able to put 2 cars on their driveway, but if they're proposing to put it on the street, that becomes a snowplow issue, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I believe the plan is 2 cars in the garage,
Okay,
so that would meet the code, but there's always the question, so they're not proposing the on the street to meet the requirements. I think as you can see from the sketch plan, there's a few little pullouts you could park on that aren't parallel parking along the street. I think there's 7 spaces, if I recall correctly. So that's the proposal. They meet the code with the garage spaces. The question is always, will everyone park in a garage, or are they gonna use it for storage? So it's likely that guests and extra cars are gonna be on the street in this case.
Gonna be a big opportunity for another storage unit thing going.
PUD.
Yeah.
Where's all that right there?
Huh?
What does that indicate?
So, currently, Sunflower ends here,
Right,
and then it's just field.
but what is that on this line?
That's just grass.
And rocks.
Grass, well, it could be.
I guess we should ask him. Oh, it looks like a pathway. Because over here you got sidewalks, right?
Yeah.
How much open space?
We asked the applicant that?
Yeah, would the applicant like to come out and
Applicant,
speak?
yeah.
Yeah.
The answer to that's 2.13 acres
Of open space.
of open space, correct?
Does it work?
No.
I'll replace it for you.
Mine works.
Does that one work? Is there a tip thing on it?
Would the applicant like to come up and speak to the project?
My name's Kelvin McCoy. I'm here representing the owner and the developers on this project. First off, thank you, Commission, for being here and taking the time to hear us. Thank you, staff, for the detailed report. As staff mentioned throughout, this application is one of infill development nature. Infill development type projects such as this one are more sustainable and beneficial to towns such as Bayfield for a couple of reasons. Infrastructure being readily available, such as this site off of Sunflower, makes both development and existing infrastructure run more efficiently in those systems. Another reason being that the infill type projects typically run at a cheaper construction cost because of the proximity to those infrastructure tap-ins, resulting in cheaper lots costs and cheaper rent costs. Which gets me to the next portion of why this project is beneficial to the town. This project that we are proposing will be a market-driven price point that will fill a gap in the workforce housing that is prevalent in the town of Bayfield today. We do understand that there are some public concerns with traffic, and would just like to get ahead of that and let the public know that we have submitted a traffic memo as a part of our sketch plan requirement. It has been reviewed by the town engineer, and after that review, there's been no improvements warranted. So we do have our design team here with me today, and in conjunction with staff, we encourage Commission to approve our Clover Meadows Phase 8 sketch plan in alternative action A, and we, the applicant, are okay with and accept all findings and conditions that do come with that. If you guys have any more questions, please let me know.
On your little diagram, are these pathways that you have?
Are you talking about on the south there,
Sunflower?
the bottom portion? Yes, sir, yeah, that's pedestrian connectivity.
Okay,
And that loops all the way around and circulates throughout the site in
Right.
between each unit. So there's a lot of pedestrian connectivity from both loop line all the way to Clover.
and to the question of parking, it looks like your street will be wider than the regular street.
Correct.
And so you'll have like parallel parking along the street.
And the idea, like Nancy said, you know, the idea is to have our tenants park in their unit, which
Of course.
is, you know, what is by code. We can't prevent their friends from parking on the street though.
Right, when people come over to visit. But they're,
You wanna give them a correct place to park and not have them park, you know, on curbs or, you know, incorrect places.
yeah, it looks like your street's wider, so, yeah.
Is the intent for these to be for rent or for sale units?
It'll be market driven. You know, we have a plan to rent them if that's what the market needs. You know, if we get to phase 2, you know, we're gonna do this in 6 phases. If we get to phase 1 or 2 and the numbers don't look like what we want them to, or an affordability standpoint, they will become rental, yeah.
They will become rental.
Yes,
Initially, you just want to sell them.
correct. But it'll be a market driven deal because we understand, you know, the price point for a monthly payment on a single family home is, you know, upwards of $3,000.
Yeah.
And, you know, if that price point is still there, then the rental market that will serve the town will be more prevalent at, you know, $1,500 a month.
So, they're 2-car garages.
Yes, sir.
How deep is the driveway before you get to the garage part? Is it deep enough that you could park 2 cars in front of the garage?
No.
That's why we designed our drive aisle the width that we did, to allow for the circulation into the garage, but not allow for parking. And that was one of the issues on the initial submittal with this project.
And then you're talking about phasing it?
Yes,
How
sir.
many phases you talking?
So if you can, on your site
Just
plan there's
generically.
dotted lines.
Yeah,
There's 6 phases.
okay.
So phase 1 being the first 12 units, the detention pond, right there off of Orchard, if that makes sense, and then
Yeah,
we'll build back west, or east, excuse me, towards, the Schroeder ditch. And so, the Schroeder ditch, we understand will have to be piped, and we're okay with that, but that won't come until, you know, phase 4, 5, 6.
Far down the road.
Yes, sir.
So we'll build, try and sell, build while we're selling some of those, build, that kind
But
of
we're
stuff.
not opposed to build to rent at all, we understand if there's a market for that, and especially,
Right.
you know, the town that Bayfield.
Right.
So is that agreement in place with the Schroeder ditch to build out phase 1, 2, and 3 prior to piping that ditch?
It's not yet, but we'd be more than happy to work with the ditch company.
'Cause that's what you just said, right?
Right.
That would come
Well,
later with
They
those.
were okay with that, obviously, yeah, which would be something we would work with.
Just, we've already spoke, but at the preliminary plat level, we really need a
No.
detailed phasing plan of what improvements happen with which phase. So,
Which we're working on currently.
I think it was on single family.
So is that currently zoned single family?
Multifamily, which is a density of 20 units per acre, and we're proposing 12.
No high-rise apartments. Oh, shit.
So no,
We could, under code.
I know. Okay.
any more questions? Anybody?
I don't have any right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Open up public hearing. If anyone would like to speak to this issue. State your name and address, please.
Lucy Stewart, for obvious reasons, I don't state my address. My concern is just this parking on the street, or supposedly they park in the garage, or whatever. I have a house, that's a rental house, has anywhere from 8 to 12 cars, most of them park on the street. They have been addressed by the Bayfield Marshal, and they continue to do it. They park right over where all the utilities are located. And now we're starting to cut into the little bit of ditch that's there for the floodwaters to flow through our subdivision. So this on-street parking, I don't agree with it. Because I see that all these cars in my one house has all these cars parking everywhere. And you know, if, to me, if you have a house and you have a place to park it, that's where your vehicles should go. And Bayfield at one time did not allow on-street parking, and I think they need to go back to that. Because too many people are taking advantage of just hauling trailers or whatever and parking them out there.
Thank you.
Brian Blanchard, 627 Louisiana Drive. Just a kind of a observation, and I may be looking at this wrong, but if you look at your site plan that's been submitted and your utility plan that's been submitted, it differs from the master drainage. You have two large detention ponds that were proposed, and then the master drainage plan is a much smaller detention pond. I'm not sure whether they're tied together or whether they're different ponds, but they change in the plans. So your site plan and your utility plan differ from the mastage, and we obviously have issues with our detention ponds. So just to bring your attention to it.
Yeah, to address that, the plan is to have this large detention pond on our site plan. I'm not sure what happened on the packets, but I do have an updated drainage plan here that shows it being consistent with our site plan. I don't know if can I address?
Yeah.
Sure.
So you're talking about eliminating the one that shows on the
Correct. This
package
is-
we
this
have
is
on
correct
Sunflower?
here.
Can put more houses
So it'll be
for parking.
one large detention, above ground detention pond that actually drains into the natural drainage location and existing drainage that comes from the north of the park as stated from the county.
So kinda on the Clover Drive side of the project.
Yes, sir.
What are you gonna do with the one that shows on ours where there was a big circle thing? What does that say? Can't read what it says.
That one,
He's
which one?
asking
This one
about
right
what
here.
that is.
Drop inlet. Oh, drop
Drop
inlet.
in, that's open space to that circle on
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
northeastern, that's open space.
Oh,
Yeah.
parking.
However you wanna take it.
Put a little parking lot there for them.
Is that what you're approving it for?
Is there, I mean, I know I live in Clover Meadow 7, we have an HOA, so we have CC&Rs. Is there something similar like that for this?
There will be, yes, sir, yes, and we'll retain a bit of HOA and run it.
So through the CC&Rs and the HOA, you can sort of work the parking issue
Exactly.
to
That's what I was
sort of
gonna address.
kind of control that
Yes, sir.
and plow your driveways.
Which is typical for most neighborhoods across the country.
Okay. Okay, took care of that. That's all I had.
Chris McSweeney, 728 Blue Pine. I live right there on the corner of Blue Pine and Sunflower. Yep. Please don't build there. Please do not build rentals. We do not want them there. I know that your intent is to build homes to sell there. We do not want 68 multi-family units on 5.6 acres. We do not want 172.5 people to live there. We do not want that area to look like Foxfire Farms. That is not what that area was intended for. You will destroy our neighborhood the way it is.
You're not the owner, right?
I don't care if he's the builder, okay? Please, please,
What is wrong?
thank you.
I did have a comment. Just,
Derek, did you have a let me ask, Derek, did you have a comment?
No, my comment was when people come up to talk, they need to address the commission.
Right.
Yeah.
So the commission is the focus for the public speakers, and any questions that come from that will then be answered by the applicant.
Right.
I just, my name's Derek McCoy, agent for the applicant as well. Kelton and I work together. I was gonna say that I wanted to just clarify that when he talks about an open or a free market type setup, there'll be people that own and live there. There'll be people that buy them and potentially rent them. And so it's not like it's something that's intended to be rentals only. If an owner or an investor wants to rent in the marketplace, they'll be able to under the way
It's all in the CCRs.
Jeff Meisner, 344 Veterans Drive. One of the previous speakers said we don't want the housing unit to look like Foxfire Farms, and it won't look like Foxfire Farms. It'll be a long way from Foxfire Farms. Foxfire Farms is right at 10 acres, and it only has 52 housing units on it. So I think that's a long way from Foxfire Farms. I appreciate that we are looking to build houses to help people who will work here to have a place to live. Those, I don't think, would be family homes that are being proposed for that location. That property, 5.6 acres, is just a hair under 244,000 square feet of land. At 69 homes, that's just about 3,500 square feet per home for the parking, for the footprint of the house, for the front yard, for the backyard. Family homes have places for kids to play, have places for, I think most of us here have pets, places for the pets to live, have places for the bicycles to be stored, have places for the grill to be cooked on, have places for folks to sit outside and invite company over. Looking at the drawings, there's none of that. When guests come to your home, you probably have many occasions where you have more than one car that shows up at your house. I don't know where those cars are gonna park. I have no idea. The people who are going to be living in these homes that we're building for the purposes of giving them an affordable place to live deserve to have a place that is, number one, affordable, and that they're gonna be happy to be in. I don't know how many people are gonna be, I don't know what the cost is gonna be to build these places, but I do know that right now the cost to build in Bayfield and Durango, I know it's $400 to $450 a square foot. I know in Bayfield, it's, if you can build it for $250, you're dang lucky. These guys still have to do all the development. To build all these homes, it's gonna cost a lot of money, and I don't know what they're gonna sell for. If they sell for $300,000, by the time you come up with your $80,000 down payment, you're still looking at a housing cost to buy the thing of $1,800 a month. That's more than $38 an hour that you have to earn to be able to qualify for a mortgage. And if you're gonna do that and you have a family that we want these things to be as family homes, then you're gonna have to have both people working, because there aren't very many jobs in Bayfield that make $38 an hour. And so you're gonna have to have both people working, which means you're gonna have to have minimally 2 cars, because you gotta get both people to work, unless they happen to work at the same place. I love the idea that we're gonna have housing built for people who are low income, just like that. I don't even remember the name of, what is it, Bayfield Parkway Meadows or whatever it's called.
Pine River Commons.
Pine River Commons, Pine River Commons, what are they building right now? And I'm trying to remember the number right now, but I think it's just a little over 10 acres, and they're only gonna put 38 homes, I think that's what that's set up for. And right now, we've got people
Mississippi and Ridge Drive, the two most southern streets. And you count all the houses on the north side and the south side of those, and then the 10 houses that are on the, 5 that are on the very far east side, 5 that are on the very far west side of Hickory Ridge. That's 70 homes, and that's 21 acres. Those are the homes that people deserve to have, not a house that sits square on top of virtually every single piece of land that they have. I guess the nice thing is they don't have to worry about where to put their lawnmowers and their trimmers because they don't have anything to mow. The people who want to live in Bayfield don't want to live elbow to elbow with their neighbors. Otherwise, they'd be living in New York City. Let's build some houses, yeah, that people can afford, but that aren't packing them in there like they're living in a highly populated, dense urban area. Let's be decent to them too. We want this to be a rural community, at least some folks, well, several hundred, it felt like folks said earlier today. Can we tone down the number? Does it have to be 69?
Wendy Espinosa, 727 Lupine. I also live on the corner of Lupine and Sunflower. So this will be the side of my house and the back of my house. I agree with what Jeff said, like, I know that we bought that house 21 years ago, knowing that would eventually be developed. At that time, it was zoned for single-family homes. And so I don't have a problem with that being developed. I just think 69 homes is gonna be a lot for our area. Our street on Lupine, which some of that traffic will come through, is already very narrow. So if there's people parked on the street, it's basically a one-way street because it is very narrow in there already. And in the mornings when there's school traffic, in the afternoons, when people are picking up, there's lines clear down Clover and clear down Lupine of people already. It's already so congested in there. But my concerns are that more traffic is gonna not be good in our area. So yeah, I think that 69 would be a lot in a very small area, and I wonder what that many more families coming into Bayfield, what impact that will have on our water, sewer, our school district, having that many more kids in there, just the impact of the entire community, not just our neighborhood.
Thank you.
Mary Benson, 723 Lupine. So this will happen right behind me. A lot of us came when they were rezoning from single family to multi. This would be the third then rezoning that they're asking for. They did reduce, what they were going to put in there, which was 80. It seems like now they're at 69. My concern is that we tend to look at individual developments and not the whole of this neighborhood that we're building in. We've got Pine River Commons, which is building 66 three-bedroom units. We have Cinnamon Heights, that's 30. We have Mustang Crossing, which is 89 single-family homes. We are not done building out Clover Meadow 7 along Sunflower.
2 more.
And when I looked at the census, it was average 3 people per household. If you have 3 bedrooms, you could have 6 people living in, if you have 3 couples, roommates. I'm concerned about the density in this area that you're building as a whole. It's too much traffic. I echo what they said, there's at least 6 buses that traverse Clover Drive every morning to and from, school. There are lines of parents that are dropping off their kids. There's only a few ways in and out of this area. People are gonna be using the same roads. It's gonna greatly impact traffic and cause frustration, I think. The number of people and, the density of all these people in this area, it's gonna be too great. I think it's gonna cause issues. I see the benefit to the developers. I see them making a lot of profit. You asked what is the benefit to the town, and I'm not as sure what that is. I know that there's going to be public works, there's gonna be road maintenance and all these other things from all this traffic. I'm greatly concerned about the grading. I already had 5 to 6 inches of water from that last rainstorm in my crawl space. It drains right into our backyards. Just a little rain, it gets wet. The other thing that happened with Clover 7 was we have water rights in our properties, and the developer in Clover 7, when they did that expansion, they fenced in the actual valves to turn on and off the water. There was supposed to be an easement, but it wasn't documented, and so people had to, we had to pay, the HOA had to pay half of the moving of those pipes. The same thing is happening behind Lupine. The HOA paid to see where those pipes run. And there's right now in Clover 7, there's no way for them to do any maintenance on that irrigation. The HOA president walked over to who's building on Sunflower right now because they're digging. There's no documentation, so we're gonna pay for documentation to see where those water lines run currently, because we probably won't know if something breaks until spring. I'm concerned just about, these things. I think it's too much. It's too much in one area, and if you look at it as a whole, I think it's gonna cause some issues. We don't have enough jobs. We don't have childcare here. We're a desert. I don't know, how we're gonna accommodate from infrastructure points, how we can accommodate all of these people.
So when you say water lines, is that irrigation line? Just to be clear.
Yeah.
They are irrigation lines.
So just to be clear.
So we did map, we paid to map where the irrigation line runs. They also marked boundary lines for the property, but those little stakes that they put in, I'm sure, not everybody's houses their fence line is their boundary, and I don't see, I'm concerned who's gonna watch and make sure that I'm taken care of on the other side of this during the building. And the stormwater's been a huge issue. I've been to many town meetings, and people end up paying the lawyers to, mitigate the things that are happening to their homes, and I'm just, not wanting that to be a thing either. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Black, 311 County Road 501. I'm the Schroeder ditch president, so our ditch does run right at the top of Clover Meadow 7. We were all in negotiation for Clover Meadow 7. They piped that ditch. The Clover Meadows 8 is going to be phase 8, I believe, of that. So we did have all kind of preliminary plans at that point. I know that they also reached out to us when they kind of went to different zoning and looked at the phases, and it's still in their plans to go ahead and pipe the ditch. I'm sure we'll enter into an agreement with them kind of as we move further along the planning process. So they have been in contact with Schroeder Ditch in negotiations to pipe. As far as the irrigation lines, the main ones actually run along our easement that is in Clover Meadow 7's. So the main lines for the rest of the subdivision are in our easement in that aspect. And there shouldn't be any building in that. Of course, those lots go across our easement, in Clover Meadow 7, but, as far as the trunk lines that go down into the further into the, HOA, that's HOA's, aspect, so I don't have any knowledge of those. I do know where the main lines come off our main ditch, 2 feet, Clover Meadow 7. That's all I have to say on that. I look to further be in contact with them and kind of get an agreement with Shore Ditch in place.
My name is Chris Hawkins. I live at 759 Current Drive. I'm also one of the members of Set Engineering who's working on the design of the project. I just wanted to address a couple of the concerns. Just that it's not so much for addressing the density in itself for this neighborhood, but we did do a preliminary traffic study that Justin did come back and say was conservative, and that they felt like the level of service was A. Sorry, got some really nervous. That the level of service was still A, and that they did recommend any improvements to the Orchard Drive and Clover Meadows intersection. The concern that was brought up about the neighbors to the south, I think are valid. I've taken a look at that to try to mitigate those things as much as possible. I tried to take the number of units that we were proposing. I tried to pull everything internal to the site. We have about a 80-foot buffer from the property line to the first building. I did put in a wall within a gap off the property line and off of their fence, and we're proposing a irrigation easement. So the hope is that between the wall will serve a couple purposes. One, to give them the gap to do the maintenance that's required along their fence line, for the fence itself, for irrigation or any utilities that are on that side, but also to hold up the ground level over there. I have a ditch that's passing through. Are you guys able to see this? Have you seen this before?
I think so.
Just where that tree line is, next to the walkway, we have a ditch there that's designed to intercept all the drainage of this subdivision proposal. And so based on the design of the model, our intent is to improve drainage to all of, to reduce drainage to those sites. Basically, I'm putting in a wall and a drainage slope to cut off all of that drainage and bring it to the west. Also, we're reducing the drainage from a 100-year storm to a 5-year storm, which should significantly reduce the impacts that are going to Clover 7 right now. I think that's all. If you guys have any questions for me, then you can fire away. I'll do the best to get to not pass out and answer them. Sorry, I haven't been to one of these in a while.
Just to touch on the density again, I know that this was rezoned multifamily, but it is multifamily. And that zoning under the Bayfield code is 20 units per acre. So I understand it's a valid concern from the public about the density. However, this application falls way under the density requirement for the zoning outlined by the town of Bayfield. Also wanted to touch on the infrastructure. We did confirm with Public Works that the infrastructure is running at a 60% capacity right now. So plenty of room to tap in there for water, sewer, and then to touch on the types of buyers at this home, these homes, or renters at these homes. These are first-time home buyers, renters. These aren't four-kid families that have boats, that have RVs. These are folks like myself who are trying to get back to Bayfield and get a place to live in and live here because we love it here. So just wanted to touch on that. Thank you.
I have a question for staff when we're ready.
Any other public comment? Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Jeremy's not here, so you guys will have to struggle with this one. So Clover Meadows is serviced by the town of Bayfield. Clover Drive. What about Bayfield Parkway? Who's responsible for servicing that?
I don't know if it's CDOT or Bayfield.
I think it is CDOT.
It is CDOT. There's only a very small section of Bayfield Parkway that is technically a part of Bayfield.
So, again,
Bayfield Parkway is the town of Bayfield.
Yeah.
That happens
that,
from the intersection on the west side to the intersection on the east side.
Wait a minute.
Bayfield
That
Parkway.
meeting the meeting about the park up there on Park, whatever, the one where the haunted house is on Bayfield Parkway, we were told that that is not part of Bayfield, that that belongs to the county.
yeah, and I know I've asked that question before, and because I was asking about the intersection at Clover Drive and Bayfield Parkway, about putting a street light there because it's dark and other things, and I was told by Jeremy, who's our utility manager, that, whatever, public works manager, that Bayfield Parkway was, in that section anyway, CDOT, not the town of Bayfield's. So I guess my concern is, having lived over there and go out on Clover Drive often, once you get to Bayfield Parkway, if you add a lot of traffic, it's already a little iffy because it's a stop sign. People are coming on Bayfield Parkway doing a lot more than 35. There's gonna need to be an improvement there somehow if this project gets approved. Now, whether they're aware of it, know it, or not, I think that's something that has to be taken into consideration as well, whether it's by the town or whoever. So that's just my comment.
Yeah, a more elaborate, traffic study will come in the preliminary
Right,
plan.
right. I'm just warning you.
Yeah. Yeah. We're on the same page.
And if it warrants the intersection, we'll do that.
Roundabout.
I'm Lisa Carnahan, 348 Meadows Circle, so right in that same area. We've been there 25 years, and we have seen, we started out in phase 1, and so now we're working toward
8.
phase 8, right. And each time we add more homes to our neighborhood, the same issues come up every time. One of them is kids, that we just don't have good sidewalk structure, crosswalks. Everybody, if we have 69 new homes, let's say there are 40 more kids that will be attending the primary school. Well, they have to cross Clover. Those kids have to somehow get across Clover, or parents have to drive them down Clover, which right now the traffic is horrifying during school, when school drop off and pickup is happening. I want to be sure that the traffic study that's going to be done is done during school pickup and drop off times, not during the summer or during Christmas vacation. I want to see that traffic study done during the appropriate times when we see the crazy traffic on Clover, which was Clover was never meant to be a main thoroughfare. I live on the corner of Meadow Circle and Clover. And we have built a buffer, basically, of trees because the traffic is so bad. And I walk all the time in that area, and we often can't walk on sidewalks, even in our subdivision, because there isn't enough room. There are not enough, we're walking in the middle of the street because there just aren't, there are people parked on we don't even have sidewalks in on Meadow Circle at all. It's just on Lupine and Daylily. They do have sidewalks there, but I'm not sure I even really see sidewalks in the site plan. I worry about it not being a user-friendly area because there are going to be so many people. And I am afraid that this many homes, considering how many homes are going up now, will not be sold, that this is going to be a rental area, and that's it. They're gonna be short-term, people are gonna live there short-term, and it's not what we're looking, I don't feel like it's what we're looking for in Bayfield. The other issue, I'm not sure either if there's any irrigation. I think that all of that original Mars property had irrigation rights like we do in Clover Meadows, and Mesa Meadows also has some irrigation, I believe, that we manage through our homeowners association. So I don't know if there will be irrigation there either, but it's another concern. I don't know, maybe you don't need irrigation there because, as somebody else said, there won't be any lawns. So I'm afraid that what it will look like is a industrial apartment complex where bikes are thrown onto the street because there isn't any place else to put them. Kids are riding all over the place and not, I just am afraid that it will not be a safe place because there are so many homes. And I would prefer, I know that this has been zoned multifamily for a long time and we have been expecting this. I would just hope that you would consider perhaps lowering the amount of homes that will be there. I know it's gonna come down at least once, maybe twice, but it would be really nice to see it come down again to where it seems more manageable. 69 homes on 5.6 acres seems excessive. And I don't know, I can't see how our neighborhood can handle that. We could put a trailer park, we might as well put a trailer park in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess one thing that I would add, that, like she said, the traffic study should be done during school because there are so many people that are waiting to pick up their kids at the primary school that they are parked on the sidewalks and it backs all the way up and it already makes congestion getting down Clover hard to begin with.
Understood. The typical traffic study runs at a peak time and at a non-peak time. So those numbers will be taken at the end of school, at the beginning of work, at those peak hours. And those numbers will then be calculated in an average with all the other numbers taken. And so those numbers are accounted for and are the outliers typically on these traffic studies. So yes, those are accounted for.
Also 8 and 3:20, because that's when the classes get out at the primary school. Okay.
Traffic study we had in one of these projects tonight was like 120 pages.
Yeah,
Of
they're crazy.
301, 302, 304, that kind of stuff. I have a question for staff. So, it's proposed to have 69 townhome units. Do we have any flexibility in changing that number? Or if we approve this sketch plan, are we stuck with them being able to do 69 townhomes? I ask good questions, don't I?
I don't know, you're confusing me. Now, I suppose you could, if you approve this with 69, and when they came back in with the prelim plat, and they needed more space for drainage, or width or something when they did the design, no, you wouldn't be stuck with 69, they'd have to have less.
Right, but that's the only.
To make room for that.
But from a density standpoint, once we approve this with 69,
If they can
They can go
make
up to
the
a max of
development
69.
work, and you've approved it with 69, yes, they would have 69.
that's all I have.
Anybody online like to speak? We'll close a public hearing. Any other comments, discussion from the board? I wish I remember why, or how we got to that multifamily zoning in the past to.
When was
to-
that?
Sure.
If I recall, Paul, like 311 County Road 501, there is a small lot that was in the industrial zone, like we're right next to A to Z. That lot went in front of the town to rezone that from industrial into multifamily home, I think at this density, which then I believe that opened up the door then for the rest of Clover Meadows to be able to follow suit with that. That little parcel of land had to go actually to all the industrial owners and get approval from them. I think the fire department was one of them, and the other businesses were in at that time. So that little lot is what changed the density.
Is that where they're still building those little?
Yes, yeah, and that's a very small lot that
Yeah.
they presented the project, and I think at that time, the planning commission, they got the approvals from the industrial zone to change that to living area, whatever you wanna call it, and then that density came up with that. That's just what I recall. There might be more influence.
I don't know, to me, 69 homes in that little of acreage is a concern for me.
Yeah, I have concerns on the parking issue, looking at it, because, you know, you got a driveway and you can't even park in front of your garage, basically.
Right.
That's where I'm having trouble. That's my comment.
Are the 7 spaces that are shown on this site plan, is that a code-driven number, or where did, and it doesn't seem to make sense.
If you don't want them, we can remove them. The one that's in the northern corner, I had a couple spaces up there so that we didn't have a radius cut off that driveway. So it was more for accessibility for, that drive and for fire if they needed it, which is only like 3 parking spaces. The other ones, I'm hoping